Today I fucked up by smoking on my balcony. This is a short and mild one, but enjoy. I'm a smoker but I don't smoke too often. There are occasional traditional cigarettes that I light and one of those is the morning cigarette. Every morning, after I wake up, stretch and drink my coffee, I go out on the balcony and smoke in the chilly weather to wake myself up fully. This morning was no different. I stood on the balcony and lit it. I didn't use an ashtray, just let the ashes blow away in the wind like leaves in autumn. I bask in the sun's glory while casually listening to the downstairs neighbor chat with another neighbor. My downstairs neighbor is this chill grandma with red cookie hair that lives alone, too old to care about much, too old to remember much. I almost never see her on the balcony, she's mostly inside doing grandma stuff. But this morning she perhaps decided to be outgoing and talk with her neighbor to her left, another grandma. They talk about their sons and I kind of listen, but I'm mostly distracted and engrossed in my own thoughts and the scenery. 1,000 thoughts are rushing through my head. Some philosophical, some about the present. Oh, wait, what was that thought? Something slightly distressing went through my head and I start backtracking to try and find it. Oh shit, I realize what it was, and as I'm about to glance down to see if I've caused damage, my hand twitches and I fumble and drop my still lit cigarette. The realization I came to was that this grandma was directly underneath me and for 5 minutes I've been flicking my ash on her head. But now minor fuck up has turned into disaster, as I'm watching my cigarette fall on a steady path to the grandma's head in slow motion. How could this happen? I was just peacefully enjoying the morning and now I was about to burn what little hair that poor woman had on her head. While the cigarette is flying towards the future fire that is the grandma's hair, I get a glimpse of her head. She has a big bald spot with curly red hair around it. That bald spot ain't bald no more. It's riddled with ash as if she stuck her head in the fire pit. How her neighbor didn't notice, I have no clue, but I turned this innocent grandma's dry scalp into an ashtray. And now worse has come to worst because my cigarette butt was about to explode on her head like a nuclear bomb. I watch frozen as the cigarette misses her by a few inches, and as soon as that happens I disappear, short of seeing her neighbor get startled over the falling match and look up to see the arsonist. That was my story. I tried to decorate it as much as I can to make it more fun to read. I can't help but wonder if my neighbor even realized that she has a whole cremation on her head at all, or if my crimes have stayed unseen. Too long didn't read. While distracted, I flicked ashes on my neighbor's head and nearly dropped my lit cigarette on her head to top it off. I can only imagine what would have happened if it hadn't missed. Funny story, not your fault, not her fault. Glad everyone's okay and you avoided arson charges. I would hate to be your neighbor. There are few things more disgusting than having someone else's ashy breath smoke blown directly in your face. So funny. Great read, haha. Today I fucked up by ranting about how !T life is white unmuted. This happened a few weeks ago. I was on a Zoom call for 9th grade history, and being the little idiot child that I am, I wasn't really doing any of the work and was more focused on contemplating life. Smart, right? Well, anyways, my brain eventually got more focused on how crappy life is now, and I just started like venting to myself. I was just sorta talking to myself, but in a sorta inclined tone of voice so my parents couldn't hear me, but I could hear me. So anyways, I'm going on about how life sucks right now with COVID, how _K up Trump is with his election conspiracies, all that happy and glorious stuff. Swearing a fair amount in there, but not a crap ton. _tilde. Turns out I was unmuted. I stop ranting and look over for a second because my class is oddly quiet, and I can tell some kids are trying to hide their laughter. In terror I realize what has happened and promptly leave the class. Too long didn't read. I was venting about how crappy life is and my entire class heard. Edit, what is happening in the comments? You'll be fine, bro. I have two friends that sucked each other's dicks. The whole school found out, they were totally fine. I'll point out this was over 10 years ago when being gay wasn't as accepted as it is nowadays, and at a British school where bullying and mocking is way harsher than it is over the pond on your end. This also happened during when we were actually at school face to face with everyone and not during a pandemic. You'll probably get mocked for a bit, but don't take it personally. I guarantee someone has done something way more embarrassing in your school. At a British school where bullying and mocking is way harsher than it is over the pond on your end. For what? You do realize that kids get bullied so much here they bring guns to school, right? That being said, alright, no one's even gonna remember the rant in 2 weeks. I feel your pain. Something similar happened to me a few years ago. I was having a glorious pity party, complete with colorful metaphors and all the grown-up words. After a few minutes, my husband got a message in our game asking him to tell me my mic was open and my whole guild was listening to me have a tantrum. I'm still mortified to this day. Edit words. Today, I had left my Zoom screen open and went out of my room to get water, got distracted and returned 15 minutes later, completely forgetting the fact that I had left a Zoom meeting running. I entered my room dramatically, dancing like a maniac. Yes, everyone saw it. Words nor numbers can describe how embarrassed I am now. Yes, I feel you. Don't worry, no one will care in like 2 weeks. Don't worry, it gets a lot more shitty when you get older than 15. Today I fucked up by getting shit all over my boyfriend. So this happened yesterday, but I was a bit traumatized to actually write it down. So let me set the scene. I am staying with my boyfriend's family and they very kindly have lent me their spare room, which has an ensuite toilet and shower. The toilet isn't your normal flushing system, but instead is a ZunaFilms machine. This machine basically is a blender for your toilet waste. So when you flush the toilet, it goes through this pipe at the back into this ZunaFilms machine, which is in a cupboard/attic next to the room. It then blends it all up and then is pushed through this much smaller pipe to the mains. My boyfriend's mum briefly mentioned that she's had to unblock it once or twice, and that meant she had to go into the cupboard/attic and take the lid off the machine and scoop the stuff out the blender. And lo and behold, after 1 month of me using this toilet, it was blocked. My first port of call was to pour hot water down it, and put vinegar and baking soda down it too. After a few efforts of that, no luck. Next the plunger, which ended up doing absolutely nothing at all, apart from prove how bad the blockage was because the water was coming up the sink. At this point we all knew what was coming. The next day we faced the shittiest day I've ever had. Bit of foreshadowing for you. So started in the morning by taking the lid off, which my boyfriend did, and it was an absolute mess. I don't want to get into too much detail, but I'm pretty sure my entire months of waste was in that pipe and in the system. So me and my boyfriend took it in turns to shove our hands into the machine and down the pipe and scoop out handfuls and handfuls of shit into heavy-duty bin bags. Just to clarify, we were wearing thick rubber gloves and wearing masks because the smell was awful. After some time we were able to see that it wasn't as solid and there was some water coming through. So we could probably put the lid back on and give it a flush to help loosen it up because it wasn't blocked anymore. My boyfriend put the lid back on, and then turned on the machine, because we didn't want blended fingers to be part of the mix, and so much blended shit just sprayed across the cupboard in all directions all over my boyfriend. I couldn't tell if I should laugh or cry. And when I say covered, I really do mean covered. Shit was everywhere. He immediately stripped and got into the shower, and I got to work right away cleaning all the shit that was sprayed across all the walls and floor. So after some inspection we found out that the pipe that takes the blended toilet waste away from the system hadn't been clicked in properly, hence the loose joint. We then spent the rest of our afternoon pumping the toilet and scooping out water and toilet waste to then put the lid back on, properly this time, and the toilet was now flushing. We almost cried in relief. Surprisingly he wasn't mad at all or even disgusted, but finds it absolutely hilarious. I guess our relationship is a lot more solid now. Winking face. TL. Doctor blocked the toilet, had to scoop out toilet waste from a blender, ZunaFilms, put the lid back on, flushed, sprayed all over my boyfriend because the pipe was loose. Is something like that even up to building code? Seems weird to me. Haha, yeah, apparently so. It's a system that a lot of toilets use. If you can get through this situation together, there's nothing you can't survive, lol. He is obviously an adult, and handled the situation very well. He agreed to work on the shit machine, and when it went wrong, he didn't throw a tantrum even though he got sprayed with crap. And good that you worked together on it too, and didn't freak out, just started cleaning the nastiness. A little swearing and cringing is natural. Oh definitely yes, thank you. It's a good story that we can't stop laughing about. And yes, lots of swearing and cringing. Sounds like you had a great time, glad it's sorted and no one got mad. I'd want to shower for days after that. Trust me, we have. Were you in the countryside? Ha 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 ha.